いずれ海賊王になるからそいつだけは笑わせねえ
Hey guys, Kia here, and this time, as you can see by the title, this is kind of like an analysis, but not really. It's more just like a discussion on Usopp and his character. It was going to be an analysis, but then I started thinking about it, and personally, I don't see Usopp to have enough stuff to talk about, like, for an analysis. So, and really, the stuff I want to be talking about isn't really, like, analyzing his depthness or anything, right, or any symbolism. I really just want to talk about some stuff I've, like, seen in his character, like the whole his lies become true and his scene in Alabasta and all that. Because personally, he isn't my favorite One Piece character, but I definitely think he should be up there. And for a lot of people, he just isn't. I see people like have Sanji above him, which I just can't see. Usopp is a much more fun and interesting character, especially compared to Sanji. So yeah, that's basically it. Just get straight into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about, which I mentioned before, is how a lot of his lies come true. I've really not seen this with a lot of characters. You could call this like just Usopp having a bunch of like foreshadowing. I don't know if I want to call it foreshadowing, but it's still like a really cool thing that you like can see. Some of the things that he said, I'm gonna just lift them off, that have come true, was the pirates coming to Syrup Village, which was the first one, with the Black Cat pirates and Kuro. He saved a whale from the North Blue, that was Laboon. He fought a huge goldfish that had like poop as big as islands, which was the goldfish at Little Garden. He also said there was like a beautiful female Swordmaster that brought a lot of meat, when he was trying to attract like Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. At one point, I think it was on the ship, I don't remember. He was referring to Rebecca, because she brought food, and she's a female Swordmaster. A huge mole inside the mansion he mentioned, which turned out to be Miss Mary Christmas from Baroque Works during Alabasta. During Syrup Village, they pretended to like chase a dog, and it was and they pretended to say that it was Cerberus, but then Usopp met a Cerberus during Thriller Bark. When they first got onto Thriller Bark, I think it was. They pretended to capture a dragon. The Straw had to actually capture a dragon later on in Punk Hazard. He mentions the country of dwarves, Tontara country. During Dressrosa. He mentioned the legendary hero Usoland, which turned out to be God Usopp. And there's a bunch of other ones. I got that from some post on Anime Stack Exchange. I don't know. I might like it, might not. But yeah, there's that. I think that's a really cool little detail to Usopp's character. It's a little bit of, not depth, but it's a little touch to his character that you don't really see with any. I've never seen someone, like I've seen, the typical dialogue foreshadowing where they say, oh, it'd be a shame if this happened, and it happens. I've seen that, but it's almost never that style, and it's also never that frequent with one character. Usopp's the only character I've seen have something like that. And yeah, because, it turns out to be, like, at first it's some pretty funny joke or whatever, and then as time goes on, it's like, it becomes more, like, actually happens, and it's pretty cool. Also, there are some other ones that haven't been, like, mentioned, like him having, like, 10,000 soldiers under his command and being Captain Usopp. That could like foreshadow to a later event, right, where like the whole Straw Hats have 10 divisions, right, kind of like the Whitebeard pirates. So maybe Usopp has 10,000 men under his command, in like the Straw Hat pirates or whatever, in like in the future, right, because the whole Straw Hat Grand Fleet. If that happens, it'd be a nice callback. They'd probably call him Captain Usopp or something along those lines. And yeah, or if not, be like Division Captain Usopp. That's a really cool detail. I really like that about Usopp. I don't think I've said this before, but I don't think any character has something similar to that. But yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about Usopp was his whole situation at Alabasta. I forgot the exact words, but I'll play the clip. But yeah, he's basically the whole scene with him versus like the mole and the guy with the bat, like him and Chopper versus the guy with the mole and the bat. I do believe, like, what he said about Luffy in that scene, I personally prefer that scene a lot more than Nothing Happened. Now listen. I'm not saying Nothing Happened is bad, right? Nothing Happened is a great scene. Perfect. It's great for Zoro's character. It's great for the series in general. It's a lot of people's favorite scene. I can understand that, right? Especially since, Zoro's like a fan favorite. But I do think this scene is at least more, it may not be, better, but it's definitely more meaningful, right? Because Zoro, he's like a superhuman. He shouldn't even really be considered human with what he's done in the series. And like him withstanding all that damage he did at Thriller Bark, you know, it's still an incredible feat and like a show of loyalty and all that. But you know, he's still like super human. Now compare that to Usopp, who had like his skull broken, his nose broken with like a super long nose, and he's a normal cowardly human, right? And for him to go through all that just for Luffy, who at the time had even less potential to be like Pirate King or whatever than he did at Thriller Bark. I think especially since, you know, I already said this, Usopp's a normal human, to go through all that, he probably would have died. I definitely feel like that's a lot more, like a bigger show of loyalty than Zoro taking that damage. There's still great feats of loyalty, right? Don't get me wrong. But like, first of all, I get more chills from that scene than I do nothing happened. But like, him being a normal human and taking all that damage just for like even an even lesser cause, because yes, Luffy is still the same person, but he also doesn't show the same amount of like potential to be Pirate King. So Usopp doing that is just like, I just find that so much more meaningful, and I think it definitely portrays like his hope in Luffy a lot more. And definitely, I personally prefer like his dialogue during that scene a lot more than nothing happened. Him saying, you know, nothing happened is still good, don't get me wrong, right? It's still a 10 out of 10 scene for some people, and I can see that. But I don't feel like what Usopp says and what he did in that scene, I just find that a lot more like, it was a lot more meaningful, and it just hit more than Zoro's scene, right? They're still both great scenes, I just have Usopp's scene a lot higher, personally. The next thing I was gonna mention is that Usopp gets a lot of hate for like, you know, oh, why would you like him? He's a liar, he's a bad guy, and he's very cowardly. First of all, Usopp is a bad guy. Second of all, him being a liar, I mean, you might not like him liars, sure, but I feel like his lies are like more comedic purposes. But him being a coward is what I really wanted to mention. You have to be reasonable here, right? Because yes, he's a normal human, and we're used to these anime characters. Like, we can see a baby fighting a whole demon god and not being scared, and we wouldn't be surprised because we're just used to, like, we're desensitized to that kind of thing in anime. But you have to, like, remember, Usopp is, again, a normal human fighting superhumans, fighting people who basically control mountains, kings of countries, people who can, like, manipulate your body against your will, like Doflamingo. And he's doing this all for, like, the sake of someone else's dream. Like, yes, he is trying to complete his dream of being a brave soldier of the sea, but yet at the same time, it's not like it's his own dream. So him doing this, and all with like a slingshot, right? It's just like any person would be like way more cowardly or way more scared than Usopp is during these moments, and I think it's a really unfair thing to say. Like, I get it, he's portrayed cowardly and all that, but like when you consider his whole situation, like the context, considering he's a normal person, it's really more, it'd be bad, but it wouldn't be bad, but it would be a lot more unrealistic if Usopp was a normal person, and him being more like a normal person also helps us give like perspective to how a normal person would react in these situations, right? Usopp definitely one of the more emotional characters in the Straw Hats, as we can see in the scene with Water 7. He's attached to the ship. He's spent like countless hours on the ship, blood, sweat, and tears for the Going Merry, repairing and doing all this work for it. And then, from his perspective, out of nowhere, they just want to replace the Going Merry like it's nothing for the sake of a new ship. Like, from his perspective, the Going Merry might as well be family because of how much he's worked on it. And that for him, them just like wanting to replace it, he's offended. He's like distraught by like this kind of action that they've committed, which for him is like a betrayal of the Going Merry's meaning and his hard work on it. Like, then again, yes, first of all, also, Luffy versus Usopp, one of the best fights in the series. The most emotional, easily, just not, yeah. Him coming back as, the sniper from Sniper Island thing, that was also great. It's a lot more realistic, right, because it still shows he has the pride. He doesn't want to say sorry to Luffy. He doesn't have like the pride. His pride doesn't let him do that. So that's why he puts on a mask, helps them. It's still kind of obvious that it's him because of the nose. I don't know whether or not Luffy was like 100% sure it was Usopp or he was playing along with it or not. But it was pretty obvious it was him. But yeah, he had to at least put on a mask to like say, oh yeah, it wasn't me. You know, he doesn't want to forgive Luffy for what he did, even though he has to. So I don't know. I feel like if I say a lot more about that whole scene, I feel like I'll just be stretching it out more than I kind of already did there. So that's a lot of what I wanted to mention. Usopp is a top 3 character in One Piece for me. I do hope he gets more scenes. He has a lot of like not charismatic scenes, courageous scenes that I feel are underrated. Is Usopp an underrated character? I definitely believe so, right? I'm not saying he's underrated, like, oh, people say he's bad and he's not. I'm just saying he deserves a lot more love than he gets. He should definitely be, I'm not surprised if you say Usopp is your favorite One Piece character. I can easily see that. Personally, it's Luffy for me, but, different tastes. I still find, Usopp's overhated. Yeah, he also gets a lot more, like, development, like progression, I guess, than any other Straw Hat. You compare Usopp to the beginning of the series to Usopp, current Usopp, or like Usopp post time skip, and it's a big change, right? You compare it to like some of the other Straw Hats changes, and yes, like I'm not saying like One Piece's development or like progression isn't like other series where like a character completely changes. They just get some more nuance to like how they act and stuff like that. Usopp definitely has some of the more noticeable development and progression to his character. Because, like, as I said, if you compare the beginning of One Piece to now Usopp, right? And you put them in the same situations, it's going to be completely different results and different reactions. But yeah, that's basically all I want to mention for today's video. I know that's kind of sudden, but I don't want to drag this on too long. And I feel like if I keep talking, I'm just going to be dragging it out for no reason. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to mention. Remember, if you like the video, let me know what you thought down below. Remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Shares would be nice, but also turn on notifications. But yeah, that's basically it. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.